And just can everybody hear?
I'm watching it on both computers and I don't see it actually moving yet.
Sometimes when it comes up, you actually have to do a refresh, or sometimes it doesn't pick it up if you've left it open.
Carlos, can you hear us? They probably can't hear us because we're not talking. You guys can
All
hear me?
right, okay,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
right.
That's awesome.
Oh, we should have kept that
Hi,
going and
everybody.
said nothing and pretended,
Yeah,
we're talking.
yeah, that's great. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Lovely slash Roxanne in the Twitch chat. I'm very excited tonight. We're doing a developer Q&A, and I'm going to start by introducing our producer, John Thornhill. Hi, John.
Hi everyone.
We've also got Beebs running around our new Ellen Vannin Island, formerly known as Agramon. She's going to be testing that on Pendragon. If anybody wants to take a closer look, feel free to copy your tunes over there. Take a run around. It's really cool. I've gotten nothing but positive feedback. It's really great. Um, I'd like to also take a minute to thank all the players that took the time to submit questions. We got a ton of questions on both the Herald and Post Count. I got a lot of feedback, questions, and suggestions. And in order to help with our flow tonight, I combined duplicate questions and had to reword some questions. Also, because of the sheer volume that we got, I don't think we're going to get to all of them, but we'll try and get in as many as we can. So we're going to get started. I'm going to ask the question and let you know who asked the question, and then John's going to do his answers for us. And I'll try and keep an eye on Twitch as well, but forgive me if I miss some of them. So we're going to start off with a question about the Herald. Will the Herald be displaying realm points earned? And that's from Zeeks.
Do you mean in terms of like the leaderboards, the old leaderboards that used to exist, and the Realm War pages on the Herald?
Yeah, I think, that exactly that. Yeah, I think that's exactly what he meant.
Yes. When the new website comes out, we'll be having the full-fledged whatever existed beforehand on the old Herald in terms of RVR stats, weekly leaderboards for classes, against the odds, guild ranks, all that kind of stuff will be displayed.
Nice, nice.
And we can,
Okay,
sorry,
go ahead.
we can, we're looking at trying to get the website done by the end of the year. It might be a couple months into the new year, but it shouldn't be too long. We're making some headway. 1.119 took a lot of our resources, but we're gearing back up onto that as soon as 1.119 launches.
Okay, that sounds great actually. I think people really want to see that. Some of us more than others. Okay, my next question is about guilds. Will we ever get more emblems, patterns, or colors for guild emblems? And that came from Sovereign and Fugo.
Another good answer for this one, yes, we will be. So a lot of the terrain textures you've been seeing in the game that Carol's showing you right now in Ellen Vannon, as well as the new zones that or the existing zones that we've retextured, like Odin's Gate, Emain, Briefine, etc. Those have been done by a new artist, and so she's actually going to be doing guild emblems after the terrain textures are done in the Frontiers. And so we'll have a whole lot of new choices for everybody.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to throw this one in. Will old guilds be able to change their guild emblems if they want to?
Maybe not to start when we get the new emblems in, but yeah, that would be something we would want to do. I think you can actually already change it if, as long as the emblem combination is available, you can change it, but it's just really difficult most of the time because the emblems are all taken.
Okay, we're going to move right along. The next question is about class balance. And truthfully, guys, we received a ton of questions about class balancing. And in discussing it, it's going to need its own podcast. I'm going to just read out the names of the people that asked a question. We had Sovereign, the Beeve, Beef Zerky, Tincture, Callow Demon, Mats Warden, Pilscaft, Dirt Dirkwater, Solic Fire, Get You Some, Bilal, Sparky, Fervor, and Venmick all had questions about class balancing. Can you give us any idea when the class balance will be addressed?
Sure. So actually, class balance is always ongoing. If there's an issue that comes up and we need to change it, we're going to put it at the top of the list because it's so important to the end game. But we're really looking at focusing on RVR this patch with 1.119, doing a bug fixing patch at the beginning of this coming year, as well as focusing on any improvements we need to make to RVR after this 1.119 patch. We have a few of those. I can talk about those later. And then after that, we're going to be looking more at UX stuff, and that would be the time when we'd also be able to, on the content side, work on class balance. So probably late spring, early summer timeframe next year.
And I mean, obviously with class balance, it's huge. It's not just one class. It's got to be all the classes in all the realms, correct? Like if you do one thing, it's going to snowball or domino into the next thing, right?
Right, and just because we're focusing on it for that one patch cycle doesn't mean we're going to touch every class. It doesn't mean we're going to only touch a couple classes. We're going to try to do as much as we can, but sometimes it's better to do less, see how it works, and then try to do another change later on, so that we're not turning too many dials at once, etc. But yeah, we'll try to get everything in that we can for that patch in the late spring, early summer, and then continue to look at it the rest of the year.
Oh, that sounds great. Sorry, Katz Clark, what you came here for. Well, now you know. Stay posted. Okay, I'm going to move on to RVR. Just a few general questions about RVR. So, what are the future plans to improve RVR? Address many of the concerns with it, such as keep tower sieges, relic takes, siege, reduced realm points for kills, and its size. Meaning the size of New Frontiers. Sovereign, Krakulf, Gailey, Sixthur, Kazi, and Bilal Sparky all had those questions.
I love the screen names you guys have. It's great. So this patch 1.119 is kind of our first stab at really trying to improve our VR. We have a lot of other things left to do, and some of the things you mentioned, like keep tower sieges, that whole dynamic could probably use some improvements, especially siegecraft and how that's working right now. Relic takes are probably a little easy, and we have one change 1.119 going in where it takes 3 keeps now to open the relic gates, but we're looking at other ideas in the future where maybe the relic gates become attackable and they don't just automatically open, and so the realm has to actually break the doors open, and there can be a big fight at those relic gates. Again, siege and reduced RPs is a popular question these days. We'll look at that. Maybe we can get something in the bug fixing patch. Can't make any promises, but we'll look at it. And then the last thing is the size of RVR is really being addressed with 1.119 because this new zone Ellen Vannon is such a focal point for RVR that we're hoping that the de facto state of RVR will be focused on that zone unless there's a relic raid going on, and when that relic raid goes on, the RVR will kind of move with the invasion. So that should help, if not decrease the actual absolute size of the RVR zone, it will decrease the de facto playing space of RVR.
And now with the reduced realm points, I'm going to just pull that one out of there. That's something you're looking at in the near future, or?
Yeah, we'll see how it is still impacting our VR with 1.119. It might be lessened, it might be increased based on the amount of ports you can port to on Ellen Vannon. If it's still a big problem, we'll definitely look at it. It's not an easy thing to resolve just because of realm point farming, but we think we can come up with a pretty good solution for that.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Um, I'm just looking this the graphics here are pretty cool for the new Ellen Fannin Island. It's really nice textures and stuff. That's great. Okay, next question. This one is from Rav Keen. How do you determine RVR special events such as Battleground Weekend, and can we have them more often?
Uh, we usually try to make it so that we have an event of some sort. It doesn't have to be an RVR event, but just some sort of an event every 2 weeks. And that's kind of been a focus of us with the campaign. So you've seen over the course of the summer, we've had an event every 2 weeks because that's how the campaign's cadence has gone. Except for this last one, which will be a couple weeks late based on how 1.119 launches. But anyway, we try to do it every couple weeks. If there's a PvE campaign event on, we try not to have an RVR Battleground event coincide with that weekend or week. So we try to kind of intersperse them. And so with 1.119, we're going to probably not do as many Battleground events in the near future. Maybe we can have one right before it launches, but we want people to play in the new RVR area and give us feedback. And so yes, we can have more later, but maybe not in the near future.
Okay. Um, let's see. I'm going down here. Okay. Oh, this is kind of a big question, and I'm not sure where we're
Sorry,
going to
I
go
keep
with this
hitting
one. But
trees. Sorry, I'm a really bad driver.
I'm kind of, yeah, and you're hitting them really, really fast.
I know.
Like, will there be any reworking of the RR5 abilities and/or realm abilities? That's from Aliens, Beef Jerky, Furvar, and Gwenny.
So kind of the same answer as the class balance patch question. When we look at class balance, our 5 abilities or realm abilities fall into that. And so I'm not going to promise that we're going to look at those the same patch we look at the rest of class balance, but they're always on the table. For the most part, we're pretty happy with the R5 abilities, and I'm sure there's a couple that we could look at pretty hard. But yes, I mean, there's always potential to have them looked at and revamped and tweaked.
Okay, I'm going to move into some miscellaneous questions now. This one's from Kazi. Would it be possible to have a contest to update the loading screen tips, tricks, and screenshots?
That's a great idea. Yeah, absolutely. We could do that. We'll work with
Is
Carol
that a
after
big
this
deal
podcast and do
to
that.
incorporate, or?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, there
No,
you go.
it's pretty simple.
Boom, done. Resolved something.
There was
Yay!
a thread on post count a while back. It went on and on for pages of tips and tricks. So maybe I can dig that up. There might be some fun ones in there we could add as well or something.
That would be
Yeah.
great. Oh, this is another one that I think more than one person asked. I just got it from Sovereign, Beth, and Lily. Are there any plans to make an account bank? Account bank, for those that are watching that might not know, that's so all of your tunes have access to all of your other tunes without having to give it, to somebody, a third party, and so on.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely on our wish list. We would love to get that in. It's not anything that's going to happen in the near future because there's a lot of technical hurdles we need to overcome to get it into the game, but absolutely we want to put it in.
That would be great. That would be one of the best things, I think. Are there any plans to put Dark Age onto Steam? That one's from Germs, Bilal Sparky, Kefka, and I should get a medal for saying all these names. Shiasha.
Yeah, I'm just glad you're the one saying I'm not me. Uh, so we'd love to get the game on Steam. It would be great for the game. We've done all of the work we can as a studio to get it on Steam. It's actually in Electronic Arts' hands right now, so we're just waiting to hear back from them. And when we hear something, you'll hear something.
Oh, nice. I think a lot of people will be happy with that. I'm taking a look at the dock here. Wow, those textures on the water are really amazing. That's really nice. I'm going back and forth between my crappy laptop and my nice computer. Okay, this is a really interesting question. How do you try and keep the game enjoyable for all types of gameplay? That is Zerging, 8-man, small man, and solos. That's from Aliens and Eldorus.
Well, I mean, Dark Age, when it came out, kind of did that. It's a sandbox kind of RVR game, and you can play so many different ways, and that's what's kept this game, so fun over the years. And so we just kind of try to keep that going. We don't try not to mess with it too much, and just provide opportunities and locations for players to play. And that's what this Ellen Vannon patch is all about. Uh, the island has lots of objectives and kind of different types of sandbox elements, but we try not to force players to do one thing over another. And so it's just about letting players play how they want to play.
And having this stuff, not just this patch, but all the patches up on Pendragon, when people go out and test this stuff, sending in the feedback and that, I think, really helps you all, does it not, with determining whether something is just awful for a solo player and great for Zergs or whatever? Like getting actual player feedback on Pendragon is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. The more feedback we have, the more confident we are with the changes we're doing, or the less confident we are, which is also good to know. If we're misstepping, we need to hear it. So feedback is always, 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 always important.
So get out there on Pendragon, you guys. Test this stuff out. Okay, Tyrucci would like to know, is the newsletter on a specified timer, such as every couple of months, or do you just send it out when you have a sufficient amount of new news?
He's probably asking because there wasn't one in October, which is I'll take the blame for that. We were just really busy with 1.119. We try to do it at least once a month, if not more often. But it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. If there's no news, we're not going to just send out a newsletter that's blank. So we need to have something. But yeah, we try to do it once a month. About.
And it's not any specific day. It's just whenever you find the time in that month. So like not the first of the month. And it's coming out in email anyway.
Right.
Okay.
I could fill a newsletter with loads and loads of totally irrelevant stuff.
But it would still be news, right? We're just not sure what kind of news.
And there you go, yeah.
Okay, this is probably the question of the day. This one is, are there plans to increase players' personal vault space? And if not, could you explain why? That one's from Thor, Grilletto, Luvly, Bethelin, Erlili, Arthur, Larian, and Larian.
That's a great question. Yes, we have plans to increase player vault space. The problem is that there are technical hurdles that are preventing it from happening in the near future. That has been on our list for a long time, and unfortunately the technical hurdles are not easy to overcome, or they would have already been overcome. So I don't have a time frame for you, but that is top of the list in once for the game in terms of user experience and improvements.
I
Poor
think I just saw a
Larian.
little tear roll down Larian's cheek.
We're working on it. We'll get there someday, but it just won't be anytime soon.
Okay, we're going to move over to PvE General. I think we're all hoarders. You know, I haven't even deleted my artifacts, and people keep going, if you don't use it, you can always get it back. But it's like, yeah, but it's right there. I need a bigger purse. PvE General. How do you determine credit for a PvE event? That's a really good question. For example, some parts of the Otherworldly campaign are group credit, other parts are BG area credit. Is there a reason for the different types of credit? That's from Solic Fire, Raymundo, and me.
Good question. So we try to be pretty consistent. I think by now all of the boss encounters, and it might be missing one or two on the Otherworlds campaign, are area credit. Uh, and at worst they're BG credit. I know one example of, and probably where this question is stemming from, is the Otherworld Chapter 7 quest. Has you kill 60 mobs, I believe, and that is group credit. And that was intentional because we wanted to have players have to kind of go off on their own and not just be able to steamroll it with a battle group. We didn't want it to be easy, and we wanted to kind of create a barrier at Chapter 7 for good reason, because the Otherworldly ore is available after Chapter 7, and so it takes a little bit of more commitment, and so that's why that encounter works that way. But typically we try to keep the actual boss encounters, the difficult encounters that require a battle group, we try to make them all area credit. And the only reasons that they are not area credit in certain places is usually because of the way it was scripted or the way it was set up, and we're trying to change that so that that's more consistent, and going forward they're always area if it takes a battle group.
I'm going to sneak one in here. Hope I don't get in trouble. But what about old encounters like Labby and stuff that are group credit? Is it possible to get that changed at all?
Yeah, we can look at that eventually. Not going to be a top of the list kind of change, but we can go back and look at that credit. One example of why we might have a battle group credit instead of an area credit is if all three realms are fighting over a boss, and we only want to give credit to the realm that kills the boss. We can't give an area credit because then the realms that didn't kill the boss will get credit. And so, like, that's one example of why we use BG credit over area. But we're trying to, everywhere we can, we use area credit now.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I never even thought of that for the area versus BG at all. I just assumed if it was area credit, it would be okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay, learned something. We've seen changes to some dungeons. Does Broadsword have any future plans for the unused PvE zones in the works, such as updated loot tables, new gear, etc.? Evers, Solic Fire, Callow Demon, and Wayne.
Yeah, so we did a revamp of Darkness Falls last year around this time, and then this year we've decided to do new content, and so probably over the next year we'll look at kind of revamping some old content and having a combination of new content as well. There's a lot of space in the game. We've tried to direct players to the classic world in recent years because the art looks great and it's a familiar area, and it kind of harkens back to the core part of the game with the Celtic lore and the Norse lore and the British knight kind of lore and Arthurian lore. And so that's been a focus of ours, and I know a lot of people love the Shrouded Isles expansion, but the art in the Shrouded Isles expansion isn't up to snuff to the rest of the game, and so we'd want to really tackle that first before we really started directing players there with new PvE content.
So when you're doing something like that, like using Shrouded Isles as an example, would you redo the artwork first and then do the content, or from a producer standpoint, what would you do?
Ideally, yeah, we would get the art in first, and so we have tons of other options to look at before we get to Shrouded Isles, and so in the near term, it's probably going to be things like catacombs or uh, even just like a new dungeon or something like that, rather than spend the time to revamp an entire expansion worth of zones. Which is, I mean, Shrouded Isles is a huge expansion, so getting that art in would take a long time, and even just revamping the content would take a long time. So it would have to be almost like a re-release of the expansion just to do that.
I love the fact that you're doing the old dungeons and stuff. I mean, that's where all us old timers we're leveling and stuff, and those are really some bring back some good memories. They're amazing dungeons. Um, okay, Bilal Sparky and
Uh,
Callow
oh,
Demon.
me,
Can we?
I just saw
Oh,
in the stream the YN69 was clarifying that last question that it was more about the old PvE dungeons like Verwolfham and Spindlehala getting the overhaul like the other three dungeons have gotten. In 1.119, we revamped Verwolfheim, Catacombs of Cordova, and Treepkalt, which I'm probably butchering on the name, but yes. So Spindlehala and let's see what else. Barrows. What's the Coruscating Mine? Will all get revamped in the next patch. So we're gonna go all the way through the classic world dungeons and revamp all of them.
awesome. That's great. I'm trying to think what the one dungeon is. Well, it'll come to. Okay. Can we expect the addition of new PvE content to continue? Bilal Sparky and Callow Demon.
So again, 1.119 ends the Otherworldly campaign, which has been a big focus of new PvE content. It kind of restarts the focus on RVR, and so we're going to see how RVR reacts to 1.119, how the meta game changes, how the dynamic of realm versus realm works, and relic sieges and all of that stuff. And then next patch, we'll have the bug fixing patch, and we'll also try to squeeze in uh, all of the RVR tweaks and improvements we need to make based on the 1.119 patch and those changes. So if that's your near-term time frame, then probably not going to be expecting. You shouldn't be expecting any new PvE content for then. But going forward from that point, yes, we will always continue to add new PvE or at least revamped PvE content into the game.
I think people are really enjoying that, especially with the great loot that they're getting and redoing temps and everything, and then throw in the legendary weapons. And I think this Otherworldly campaign's been great. Okay,
Thanks. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun making it.
and we like the glowies.
Well, that's good because you might be getting some more soon. Hint, hint.
Yay!
Ooh.
I love these little towns.
Mm.
Sorry, so I'm just kind of peeking around to myself while trying to set up the stream.
Tubby Man on the
I
stream
just
just asked. He said, apart from the cloak, what was that about? Just to comment on that, we probably didn't hit our mark on that cloak, and we're looking at providing a revamped reward for that when 1.119 comes out. But no promise, but we're going to try.
I'm just looking through some of the other questions because I'm looking back and forth. So I'm glad you're catching these, John. Okay, here comes the big one that comes up all the time. Realm loyalty. With regard to realm loyalty, what is your position on loyalty bonuses and realm timers? That's from Kazi, Beef Zerky, Thor, Murmurs, CDPL, Solic Fire, Cracklef, and Nekath.
Is that all?
So realm loyalty is something the team's discussed and gone back and forth on several times over the past few years. We would love to have a system in place that rewarded people for staying in one realm without it feeling like it's a penalty if you don't do that. And that's kind of the crux of the problem. So we're trying to come up with a solution. We're always open to feedback on that. If we can come up with a good solution we can fit it into the schedule, then absolutely we would add something like that into the game. For the realm timers, pretty against that at this point, based on feedback from the past and how we've tried having a long realm timer, we've tried having short realm timers, and shorter is just the way to go.
Okay, sorry for the delay. I'm just looking down about through the different questions here. Okay, Next question I have here is a technical question. In the past, we had patches about every 4 to 6 weeks, but now it seems like the patches are much further apart. Is it possible to have bug fixes more often, and if not, could you explain why? For example, a hot fix versus having to take the servers offline. Tyruchi.
I don't know if we've ever been able to consistently have a patch come out every 4 weeks. That's a pretty quick turnaround. But maybe 6 weeks, yeah, would be good. Was never usually faster than 8 weeks, like about 2 months. And we're trying to get there. This year we've done 4 patches in a year, so because 1.116 came out at the end of last year, so it's about every 3 months, and that's kind of a good sweet spot. We'll try to get it down to about 2.5 months, but in terms of having to develop it and then test it, it takes at least 2 months to make a solid patch. In terms of hot fixes, if the fix is hot fixable, which means we don't have to take the server down, we try to fix it rapidly, and you've seen a lot of hot fixes over the past year for everything that we could fix without having to take the server down to fix, which is when we have a patch. So that's why we try to avoid having a tons of server downtime, because that's no fun for anybody. Just to fix 2 or 3 bugs. If they're serious bugs, we absolutely have to take the server down. But we try not to. We try to just wait until the patch just to fix the less important bugs.
What UX, UI improvements can we expect in the future? People were asking about things like a compass that follows the camera or increasing the maximum camera distance, for instance. Nusong, Shalea, and Tethys.
Yeah, so UI UX is a big focus. We wanted to try to get a custom UI into 1.119. It just didn't work out. We're going to continue to work on that. And we also have some UX improvements that we're going to focus on, things like right-click inventory, so you can just right-click an item and it'll be equipped rather than having to drag it and drop it. Tooltip improvements, quick bar improvements, so rather than having to shift right-click to remove a ability, or if you drop an ability on the quick bar, you can't move it after it's dropped. You have to place another ability on it to move it. Fixing all that and modernizing and all that. Housing, Market Explorer, housing in general. So a lot on our plate for UX, UI in the next year or more. Like we're really trying to modernize the game and get all of that in. Things like a compass following your camera is a good idea. It would have to be instituted in a way that probably doesn't remove the current way the compass works, so we have to figure that out. Increasing the max camera distance is something we want to look at to go along with the bigger monitors and stuff. I know that it seems like it really zoomed in when you play on those, so that might be an option we can do, but we have to balance that with zooming out really far on smaller monitors and smaller resolutions. And then in tandem with the bigger monitor issue, UI scaling is a problem where a lot of the text is a little small to see now on those big monitors. So we have a lot on our plate for UX UI going forward.
Someone asked about the possibility of colorblind, doing something for colorblind people, but I don't know what we could do or what exactly.
In reference to what exactly? Like the mob names and stuff have pluses and minuses next to them based on their level. So like a purple mob has 3 pluses because it's the hardest mob. And so a colorblind person could see the 3 pluses versus a yellow mob that has no plus or minus. So we have some stuff in there for colorblindness, but I don't know exactly what they're asking about.
Yeah, I was in chat there a few minutes ago, but there's so much talk, it's gone from the thing, so I can't see what it was again. If it comes back up, I'll find it.
DAoC is pretty much colorblind friendly. I'm just looking as well. I think that the pluses and minuses are great. Are there any plans to revamp the consignment merchants? That's from Thor.
Yes, that kind of ties into the UX UI answer I just gave. We're going to look at housing hopefully this year, and the consignment merchant is the smallest part of the Market Explorer improvements we would want to do. So being able to buy cross-server, having a more robust search system where you can search for all the bonuses and all of that kind of stuff. and then potentially messing with or improving the platinum cap on consignment merchants and how they're listed and not listed on the Market Explorer based on whether or not the consignment merchant is full of plat, etc. So yeah, there are plans.
The one with the CM being full of plat is huge. People get so annoyed when they go all the way somewhere and it turns out that you can't buy it after all.
Right. Yeah,
That
we
would
know
be
that's really
great.
annoying. We're trying to get there.
Okay, this question as the Twitch has been going by, this question has been asked probably like 10 times already. So here it comes, guys, pay attention. Any plans for allowing cosmetic changes such as names and perhaps races? That's from Thor, Zeeks, Bonbon, Ayasha, and Gali, and probably 10 people in Twitch.
Yeah, this is one of those long-standing questions as well. We would love to do that. It, again, takes a couple of technical hurdles to hook it into our account management system and then hook it into purchasing a billing system. So yes, we're just waiting on that, and then for, well, at least for names and other sort of cosmetic changes, race respects are a little bit more difficult because of some code issues with that. So you have the stats you gain as a particular race as you level up, and right now you can't just change your race and those stats would stay the same even if you respect your race. So we would like to fix that before we really give race respects to players. But if we can figure that out, then yeah, for sure.
And gender. We have people that
For
need gender changes.
and one thing I should mention is if we did any of this kind of stuff, it would probably have a cost to it. Like, you know, I'm not going to name a price, but some sort of real money value to do that.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's other games do that. That's, in my opinion, that's fair enough. Let me see. What is being done to increase our number of players? Dragonfire, Raimundo, and Bethelin.
Well, right now we're really focusing on just improving the game. Players will come. We also have been trying to market the Otherworldly campaign a little bit more, and you'll see that going forward with our new content for next year and our continued support of the patches. Things like this, a great way to get the game's name out there. You guys are probably the best thing. Word of mouth is the best way to get players to play. So tell your friends about Dark Age. Tell them how you like it still and how it's still populated and still fun. So
It's actually been cool
I
on
think a lot of
post
our
count the last few days or the last few weeks. There's actually been new players coming asking about the game and how do I do this, and it's been pretty cool to see.
I can say from our guild perspective, we're seeing a lot of brand new people, which is really great. You know, you have people going, I've only played for a month, and that's just awesome. We also have a lot of returning players, and I really think the Twitch streamers are helping a lot. You know, the folks that are streaming their play and stuff, that's great.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, this one actually came up the other day. Uh, Why do I still see EA for my account and payment? Are there plans for Broadsword to have its own account management website? From Joku, Yukihaime, and Teddy.
So we were actually working on an entire new account manager website earlier this year, and unfortunately, some hurdles got in the way, and we weren't able to launch it. We're going to try to add in a lot of the features we wanted to add into the existing account management website, but there's no time frame on that right now. The reason you see EA for your account and payment is because EA actually has a relationship with Broadsword uh, in letting us run Dark Age of Camelot and Ultima Online, and so they handle the back-end billing side of things, and so it's actually more beneficial for us to keep that relationship going rather than to build our own because of the risk involved, and so there's no plans to really change that right now, but in terms of the account manager website, yes, we want to make improvements to it. And so you could probably expect seeing those towards the end of this next year.
And Broadsword is a separate entity from EA, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, just wanted to get that out there one more time. On a trial account, being a new player is extremely difficult because of the restrictions in the broadcast channel. Are there any plans to change the setup of trial accounts to make the game more enjoyable for new players? From, oh boy, CTHULLU, Chululu.
Love it. So trial accounts are something that we need to look at in probably the nearer term. Right now, we have to strike a balance with trial accounts based on abuse of trial accounts. So players can just log in and create a trial account really easily and exploit or whatever that is completely detrimental to the game, and we don't want to allow that. And so that's why we have all these kind of strict restrictions. But on the other hand, as this player is pointing out, they are strict, and so sometimes new players are like, well, I can't even talk to people I want to talk to because I can't. And so we need to look at that and try to find a better balance there.
Okay, and sorry, I'm just looking through my list. Renquist would like to know, are there going to be any changes to or updates to the graphics? And actually, I saw Crystal Rose's question go by too about the graphics. Can we expect to see any changes there?
So that's one of those really, really long-term kind of future plans. Like, yes, we would love to do that, but the resources to just do a whole graphic revamp is so massive. So what we've done is we've tried to improve it as best we can. So things like the retexturing really helps with the graphics, I think. And there might be some other small things you can do that'll help with lighting and shadows and that kind of thing. But a major update to the graphics is not on the cards at this time. Sorry, guys.
Honestly, when I'm looking at the new island, the graphics look pretty good. I think they're, given what you have to work with, I think y'all are doing a really good job of updating these things. The water texture looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, Greg Grimsby, the artist you interviewed last time, has really done a good job with the direction of the art in the game, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Is everybody sitting down? We are going to ask the question of the hour.
No, wait, you missed one.
I got to go up. What did I miss?
I don't know, maybe you were planning on leaving to the end.
I have 2 questions left. Do I have to look on my Skype to see what I missed?
Or did you ask that one? I didn't.
Sorry, guys, I'm looking over at a different computer trying to see what did I miss?
Yes, it's my job to confuse the issue.
Oh yeah, I did. Where did that one end up? You're absolutely right. We're going to ask this one. It'll be the third to last question. Are there any plans for a real Dark Age forum run by Broadsword, like the ones in Warhammer and Guild Wars 2? And that question is from Angerman.
Yeah, so we would love to have that. We have to figure out some technical hurdles again with that, with tying it to the accounts and the account login so that only active accounts can post on it, but anyone can read it. So yeah, once we have that in, we're not far off from being able to do that. So yep, look for that in the next year or so, I would say.
Oh, nice. Now, further to that one, when you do that one, will you have to have a game account to be able to be part of those forums, or have you looked at any of that yet?
Yeah, so likely you would have to have a game account to post, but anybody could view the forum without having a game account or anything like that.
Oh, that'd be great. I totally agree with that. That way your input is coming from people that are actually playing the game. So that's great. Good catch, Beebs.
I mean, it would be the one I would.
Uh, yeah, no, I can't believe I missed that. I'm so sad now. Okay, here we go. Talon, Dreamscape, I'm Selfish, Callow Demon, A Bad Note, oy, Don Demi, oh, I got it, Don Demi Pantalones, and Minucon. And a whole lot of people a half hour before this thing even started. What is Broadsword's stance on macro groups?
Sorry, I got distracted for a second from the Pantalones name. Macro groups have been a popular topic for almost the entire life of Dark Age of Camelot. Our stance on them right now is the same as it's always been. If we can determine they are using a third-party program to do it, we action them. It's really that simple. It's a violation. We don't want it. The one caveat to that is if the macro teams are using free trial accounts, the burden of proof required by us is much less, and so the chance of them getting action is much higher. But we simply do not want to ban or suspend legitimate players, and so we have a rigorous investigation process that must determine beyond all doubt that the appealed macro team is in fact using a third-party program. So in that vein, we're continuing to work on creating better detection methods, so less groups fall through the cracks. And we know this is a popular topic, and again, it's always been a popular topic. But rest assured, we're working on a solution.
There you go, guys. That's the official stance. I'm just watching things go flying by. So seriously, they're doing their best. They investigate, and that's their stance. Okay. Before we do the last question, we're going to talk a little bit about Ellen Vannon. Why don't we go ahead, Beebs, do you want to do a time card giveaway here?
Or at the end, whichever you want.
Do you want to do it here or at the end? I
Well,
was just going
I'd
to
say we
ask
do it at the end,
one more
maybe.
question. Okay. Okay. So my very last question for the night is about this new island. Now that we've seen some of the changes to RVR and Ellen Vannon, are there any teasers or upcoming changes you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, well, first of all, I would kind of do a plug for the video for the new island. We made a video kind of showcasing the ins and outs of it, and it's kind of similar to how Carol's flying around right now. I fly around on it, and I talk about kind of the new mechanics that are going into 1.119. You can check it out on the Herald. But as far as any new improvements, there's some teasers. Again, we're looking at the relic game, and we're looking at how easy it is to take a relic. And so I mentioned earlier the mile gates being siegeable. So instead of when you open a mile gate, it wouldn't be opened anymore. It would just be flagged as attackable, and so you would then have a big battle over one of the mile gates to break through it. And that's something maybe we'll look at doing the next patch. We'll look at kind of the need for the PKs after, like, so Kara Brookstead, Dun Crimthane, and Not More Fast. We'll look at the need for those going forward after 1.119. We'll see how they're still contributing to RVR, if they're still needed. So potentially maybe reverting them back to normal keeps. We'll look at the ruin keeps themselves and see if they're still a popular destination. Maybe we can move kind of their gameplay style to the island itself. Probably keep the maze rubble, etc. there. But none of these are for sure things. But we're looking at that kind of stuff depending on how 1.119 is received and played. Let's see what else. Might be adding back more towers to the whole Realm War map. So we removed towers, I think it was in 1.115, from just about every keep. Most keeps went from 4 towers to 3 towers, and then like the Ruin keeps lost 2 towers, and the Relic keeps, I think, lost only 1. So maybe we'll look at adding back in some towers throughout the frontier, and then also removing or actually not necessarily adding back in more towers, but moving one of the towers close by keeps away from the keep again. So yeah, we have a lot of things that we're looking at for RVR that aren't going to make it into 1.119, but could potentially make it into the next patch.
I'm a big fan of adding a far tower. We used to have great fights at those far towers. What about the portal keeps? Is that being looked at all?
Yeah, that I mentioned the Care Brookstead, Dunkirk Thane, and Not More Fast as being. Uh, is that what you mean by the portal keeps, or do you mean the new portal ceremony
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the
Hmm.
Elevator? Okay. Yeah, no, we're,
No,
we're
no, the
gonna
portal.
we're gonna look at potentially making those normal keeps again, depending on how the meta and the gameplay is after 1.119 has been out for a little bit.
I'm looking forward to that. I think once 119 goes live, we're going to see some really exciting RVR action back, and I think there's going to be a lot more stuff for perhaps smaller BGs or eight mans to really have an impact on what goes on with relic takes and that sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes after the patch. We made one change to Relegates with needing to take 3 keeps instead of 2 now, so I don't think that's going to be enough, but again, we like to change just a couple dials on things rather than a bunch of dials at once, so we can logically say, okay, this improved or hurt the situation, and then adjust accordingly after that.
And I see on in the Pendragon, it looks like the boats can carry lots more people. That's pretty exciting for us Zergers.
Yeah, so there's one new boat on Ellen Vannon, only available from the captured docks, and um, sorry, only available from the captured docks, and it carries up to 32 players instead of 16. And then we also have another boat that is new, brand new to the Ellen Vannon captured docks, that carries only 4 players, but it actually goes down the rivers of enemy realms and drops you off near the center keep.
So you've got to capture the dock first to get that the big boat.
Right, you have to capture the dock first, and we added dock icons to the Realm War map so you can see before you get there whether or not the dock is under attack or who owns it and all of that, which is a new thing. So we're excited about that, and we're excited about the dock layouts as well, and seeing kind of some fun battles over them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. Okay, I'm just trying to go through some of the questions. Uh, I'm just going to repeat for the folks that joined late. The whole thing about class balancing and stuff, uh, that is going to be its own podcast sometime next year because that's such a huge thing. We couldn't fit it in today. So, for all the different ideas and stuff for class balancing and stuff, that's going to be its own podcast. That's why it's not being addressed as it goes flying by here. Which one was yours? I'm scrolling back. Okay. While I'm scrolling back here, Beebs, do you want to do a? Ooh, look at that. It looks like that's the center thing going on there. Wow. I'm looking at the Twitch feed. That looks really neat. Beebs, do you want to do the giveaway?
Oh, sure. Let me just park myself.
Big, I don't think that's really a question that can be answered. I mean, the climb point ruined keeps the climb points that I'm aware of don't work anyway. You have to use the siege towers, no? Like I don't. Is there climb points? I've never climbed a rune keep. I always use the siege towers.
I think there is a random issue where it does have climb points occasionally. We're looking at that.
There you go. Yeah, Big, did you hear what he just said? They are looking at it. It's a known bug, so they're taking a look at it. So hang on, guys. Beebs is just getting ready to do a time card giveaway. And while she's doing that, I'd like to thank John for taking the time to answer all these questions, and to all the folks that submitted them. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're very welcome. Happy to do it. Looking forward to the next one about class balance. That should be a lot of fun. So yeah, happy to be here.
I have a feeling for the class balance one, we'll be getting an awful lot of people giving ideas.
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be pretty tame.
Okay, I'm good to go if you're good to go.
Do it.
Okay, this is gonna be a keyword giveaway for a 1 month Dark Age of Camelot time code. I'll tell you the keyword in chat. I'll give you 60 seconds and then do a roll, and then you just have to claim it. I'll usually give a little bit longer than the 60 seconds because of the Twitch delay, so. I'm just going to paste that in chat as well, just in case. My accent. Okay, so the keyword is exclamation mark DAoC, so everybody needs to type that.
Someone doing random 1000. It's awesome.
You're flying by.
We've got a lot of people in here. I think it's a personal record.
That's nice. My stoppage is at about 30, but I'll let it go a little bit more. So exclamation mark DAoC. I wonder, is there a way to do random 1000 as a giveaway? That'd be fun. Okay, about another 15 seconds. Okay, and stop. So I'm gonna roll. Hey, and the winner is Wizard. Congratulations.
Anybody that did it more than once should be disqualified. I'm going to guess it probably will only take
It only
it
counts
one
out
time.
once, yeah. Alright, so is Wizard here?
Oh, Wiztard won. Yay! Go team. Rigged.
Yeah, it only counts out once if you type it. That's all. Okay, excellent. Wizard, I'll chase you up for that.
Awesome. Well, thanks, you guys. Thanks for doing that time code. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it. Um, Guys, make sure you subscribe to the newsletter and get tunes copied over to Pendragon and take a run around there. For folks that joined late, your feedback is important. It is listened to. Send in your feedback. If you see bugs, if you see things, let these guys know. They can't do it without our help. So please do that. And thank you, John and Beebs, and everybody that came and joined us for tonight. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.